welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and we're speaking with Attack of a Rising guitarist, Tony Lepre. How you doing today, Tony?
So far, so good, man. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, fellow Long Beach resident here. So, how long has the band been together?
Formally, in some capacity or some incarnations, it's about late 2009, early 2010.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I thought. And I was reading you guys have a debut album out called Game Changers. Has that just recently come out, or has it been out a couple of years?
It was released last July.
Oh, okay.
Last June.
So, is this a full-length album, an EP, or?
Full-length, 10 songs.
That's pretty cool. And after that many years together, it's a lot of these songs, I imagine, been in the set list and been played a lot. So that's cool to finally get an album out there.
Oh yeah, very stoked on that.
And so, what took so long was just you wanted to wait till you felt like you had the right songs and everything.
Well, I mean, things just kind of flow, the ebb and flow of life, and like anything.
Yeah.
There came a time when it was just me and Chris kicking it. My brother Chris, the drummer and the co-founder or whatever. And,
okay.
We're like, let's go hit up Mandrake, because we've known him for a bit, and we know he's an amazing vocalist. And he said yes, he wants to do it. So we started that process. I had talked to Mike a couple of times, and Mike came in and we started playing. And Mike knew a guy. He's one of his oldest friends. It's like a brother from a different mother, Billy.
Wow.
And Billy plugged in and played, and it was okay, this is it. And kind of started to where we said, okay, we were going to go do this thing with Bill. Let's, what do you guys want to do? Because, we have some songs, you got songs, whatever. So it just went through this process of, getting that vibe and that our thing together, and then we went and recorded. So.
Yeah, and you got a great team of people behind you. I mean, your publicist, Dave, a great guy. He's involved with a lot of great bands, and I know Attack of a Rising, I got to tell people, you guys are a band I've kind of been aware of for the last several years. I mean, I think I may have even come across your band back on MySpace.
Could be.
That's how long the band's been around. Yeah. But so talk a little bit about the name of the band. Cool. I've always loved the name of the band. Very cool sounding name, Attack of a Rising.
Thanks. That was my brother Chris came up with that name.
And so who's older, you or Chris?
Me, but these days it doesn't matter,
No, I was just kind of curious. So, did you guys, do you both get into music around the same time? Did you get into it first and kind of influence him to become a musician?
Well, we were raised with it. Our parents were big music freaks, and, they always had music playing.
Yeah.
And at some point we started playing various, the instruments. We were, kids, young teenagers. Yeah. And we started playing once we both started taking lessons and getting kind of good that we could jam. We started playing together. So. And
did like a lot of people, did you guys start playing music like in the school band and that?
No, I didn't, and he didn't really either. But we both played with other fellow musicians that we went to school with. Oh,
cool. And I was kind of curious. What made you gravitate towards the guitar? I mean, I always love to ask people, what gravitated you towards your instrument of choice?
It's hard to say. It just kind of was there.
Yeah.
Like there was an old acoustic laying around, and we both tinkered on it, and I kept tinkering on it. I've been playing the guitar and bass at the same amount of time. Huh. And I play some piano, not very good. I mean, not like people who actually play, but I love playing the different instruments. And my brother, just picked up the drums. He started doing the pots and pans thing and Tupperware stuff, and then he got a drum set. And, just took it off from there.
Yeah, and I imagine even playing around on the piano, even though you say you're not that great at it, I mean, it's a great tool, I understand, to, write songs and that, and just hearing different sounds and stuff and being able to do that.
Yeah. A lot of these riffs that you hear on the album, I actually wrote on my bass, because I'll go play stuff, and I'll go pick up my bass and play it and see what comes, and I just kind of, back and forth with the guitar and bass to kind of work whatever out, but yeah, and piano is just something I've always loved. I just, didn't have enough discipline at the time, I guess, when I was younger to get really fully into it like I did with the guitar and bass. But
yeah,
play it.
I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite bands is Deep Purple, not just because of Richie Blackmore, but I love what John Lord did with the keyboards.
Yeah.
One of my all-time
iconic classic music there.
Yeah. You can really never kind of go wrong with Deep Purple. But as we were getting ready to do an interview today, you were talking to me about a show you have come up. Now I see on May 14th you have something called Shred for Recovery. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Jason Tyler, hit me up, hit us up, whatever. I've been in recovery a long time, so he was doing this thing. I was like, yeah, I'll see if everybody's available. I'd love to do it. It's a benefit show. And, we're always down for doing benefits of any kind. They're real benefits. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. A matinee show, a lot of cool bands.
And do you know what the benefits? What's the benefit? Like as far as
it's for I guess from what I understand, a central office or the regional office of the area.
Okay. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. And then I was also reading you guys had a streaming show last year. Talk a little bit about that, because I know a lot of bands during the lockdowns were doing that. And when those first started, I thought that's a pretty cool way for bands to kind of get out there and still practice and get together and have fans come and check out what you're doing.
Yeah, that was fun. It was Rob Hill is a producer that is good friends with Mike and Billy, and we got to know him. And this opportunity came to go do a thing at his place, so we did, because that was what was going on. Because you really you can't go out and play; it's not safe. Or getting sick. Or some people are dying. And it sucked. So and so we did that thing, and it's actually on our YouTube now, along with other stuff that's from the past. And there's it was a lot of fun. It was cool to do that because that was what was going on, at the time.
Yeah, and here in Los Angeles, I mean, one of the most restricted places during the COVID lockdown time, and so it's great that bands were able to kind of find a new way to do things. I mean, they even have a place here in Long Beach. You probably heard of the Gas Lamp, where I remember for a while they started having like movie nights in the parking lot there, and I thought, that was a pretty cool thing to do, because I mean, couldn't even go to see a movie during that time, and I thought, wow, that's a way for people to kind of get out there and still have fun,
Right, just like the drive-ins were, doing their thing, because you could go to the drive-in and stay isolated from others and go watch a movie.
And talking about the streaming events, I mean, they were cool when bands started doing those things. It's a new way, like I said, for people to kind of do their thing. But then, like everything else, Facebook, for example, kind of, oh, well, you're going to use our platform. We need to start making money off that. I thought that's kind of the only thing that sucked about it,
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but that's what you get with those algorithms.
Yeah. And then I also see that you guys are involved with something called Last Call Jams, which takes part Monday nights. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's something that Billy and Mike have done for a long time. When it was at a previous location in Hollywood, before the COVID stuff, they were actively involved in that. And so now that we can go play again, they started the guy Dan Mick and Sammy Burke started it with Chris James as the core guys, and then just get a bunch of these killer musicians from the local scene here, and they go play songs. It's pretty awesome. I go when I can, and it's always enjoyable. It's a really cool experience. It's one of those things that's I mean, I haven't experienced any weirdness there. It's always fun. There's no egos. It's just a bunch of people who love music, and they go play songs,
Yeah, and I guess you enjoy it because you're still doing it, but what's it like playing with your brother in a band?
I'm sorry, say it again. You cut out.
What's it like playing in a band with your brother,
Well, that's a pro and con, It's a beautiful experience. There's a lot of power and presence and just that connection of having played, with somebody you've known all your life. And it also can be a con where, you have different views and, brothers are known, especially the Italians. But, if they've gotten older, it's much less, staticky.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, I mean, you have a situation like the Van Halen brothers. They were as tight as thieves. They, like you said, they had a connection. They always said how they could hear what the other guy was going to play before. And then you got like Chris and Rich Robinson just can't stand each other, from the Black Rose.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's those things can happen.
Yeah.
But we're good. We've been good for a long time.
And did it ever get to be a problem with other guys in the band where, hey, the two brothers, they're always on the same side in that?
I'm not quite sure what you asked me. I'm sorry.
I said, was it ever a problem with other guys in the band where, hey, the two brothers are always agreeing with everything, they're always on the same side?
Well, we don't, so that's never been a problem because we don't always agree on things.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, we do, but I mean, we're both our own person, so he thinks it should be blue, and Green and Mandrake's like, whatever you guys decide,
Yeah.
And we come to some place of, that place where you get together and find the common and do it.
Yeah, and so let me ask you, as far as your influences, Tony, who are some of your guitar heroes growing up that influenced you to do what you're doing?
Keith Richards, for one, for sure.
Wow.
Randy Rhoads, because I took lessons from him, and that was unbelievable. And of course, Jeff Beck. The Jeff Beck Truth album is where I started learning how to play on, as well as with those Stones album from that time frame too.
Oh wow.
Terry Kath, from Chicago, is amazing. Hendrix, obviously Page and Eric Clapton. Those were huge influences on me. And taking lessons from Randy was just mind-boggling, and still is, just because he taught you to be you, which was always the key. Learn everybody's stuff, but figure out who you are, and that's all I've really tried to do is take every influence from God knows where it comes from, whether it's Al Di Meola or Bonomoso or whatever. These guys are way out there, amazingly talented, and just try to get some juice from them.
Oh wow, I got to ask you a little bit about how did that opportunity come about? I mean, as far as taking lessons from Randy, and he must have been, because he died tragically young, so it must have been very young himself when you were taking the.
Yeah. I was like 10th grade, 11th grade, and I had a guitar teacher in Glendale named Pat for about 2 years, and then everybody, his friends of mine that we played guitar, and they're like, "Hey, Randy, we're taking lessons from Randy Rollins." Like, "Oh yeah, let's do that." So I got plugged into it like everybody else did. Hundreds of people took lessons from him, So
wow.
So it was just kind of that thing that happens, and it was pretty intense.
Yeah. Did you ever meet his brother Kelly, who was also a guitar player?
Occasionally, but it was pretty much, I saw Rudy there once in a while because he was giving bass lessons, but it was pretty much just about Randy.
So when you knew Randy and you were taking these lessons, was he still in Quiet Riot, or was he with Ozzy?
He was a Quiet Riot, and then we all he told us all that he's going to be auditioning for Ozzy, and we're like, come on, and when we heard he got the gig, everybody was like high as stoked for him because he's one of a kind. So
and I got to ask, did you ever get the opportunity to see him play with Quiet Riot?
I saw him once when he came back from getting the gig at the Starwood.
Wow.
They had like a, hey, bye Randy, he's got to go do this thing, and that was cool, very cool. I enjoyed what he did in the lessons, and that was enough for me.
It's amazing. Don't talk to many people that got to take lessons from the legendary Randy Rhoads, and what's amazing is. When you think of Randy's legacy that he left behind, although he did those 2 Quiet Riot albums that people can get in Japan, it's pretty much just those 2 Ozzy albums. And look at the legacy that guy left behind. It's just amazing.
Well, there's a lot of recordings out there. I remember when the Westwood One Diary Tour, they put out 2 different shows, and you got to hear him playing his songs and solos to another level.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that was cool is that, he was showing us all, everybody, here's this lick that I laid down in the studio and I composed it, put it together, and here's me playing it live, taking it to a whole nother level, which was extremely just not really something people did,
Yeah. And I've heard Ozzy talk in interviews, how in Black Sabbath, Geezer Butler was the one who wrote most of those songs, and he's talking about Randy Rhoads is like the one who really actually taught him the correct way to write a song. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Daisley definitely had a lot to do with that, because Daisley it was definitely the guy doing a lot of the writing with Randy, and Ozzy learned some stuff from those guys. So
yeah. Yeah, and I'd imagine too, when the awful accident happened, where the plane crash and they killed Randy. I could just imagine how you felt when you heard that news.
Pretty much everybody remembers where they were when they heard it.
Yeah,
I know I do.
And you more so because you're more than just a fan. You're a guy that actually, he taught you how to play. You actually knew the guy, so it was much more than just a guy on a poster and on your bedroom wall.
Oh yeah, it was a hugely devastating experience.
Yeah, and
just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And so what's next for Attack of a Rising?
Currently, just we're looking to get out there and play live, because that's what we want to do. We love playing live. We're definitely a live band. So anything you hear us play in the studio, we're going to play it live and probably better.
Yeah,
so we're working on getting a bunch of shows going from now till whenever, and we're writing a bunch of new stuff. Just having fun writing songs, and we got more content on our YouTube channel coming from our album release show at the Whiskey last year. We're putting those up, so people can check us out. What we sound like live, in case they haven't seen us or they want to know what we're about.
Yeah.
So there's no lip syncing going on and none of that stuff.
So on one hand, with COVID, we had all these lockdowns. You weren't really able to get out there and play too much. But you got your debut album out finally, and they say you have your whole life to write your debut album. I mean, it's probably got to be a major feeling of accomplishment. Like, hey, people are really going to hear who we are now.
Well, yeah, we were grateful to get that done, and Bill Matoyer did a killer job. Bill is a great person as a human being, let alone producer. So it was really awesome to get that done and finalized and out. And then we just had to wait to go play.
And then I got to also can't let you go without asking about the current video for the song "Burning Daylight." I kind of, it's a lyric video, but I kind of love like the different images and stuff throughout the video.
Yeah, I mean, it was that specific thing was we've always been whatever term you want to use, socially conscious, etc., whatever. And that song is something that Chris and I wrote. He wrote most of it a long time ago, and it's blue collar worker anthem in a sense. It's about human rights and all that kind of stuff. So we played with the different visuals and came up. That's what we got, and it's cool. It makes the messages there, ties into the lyrics, and it's about we're burning daylight. We don't got we don't have like an endless amount of time here. We got to get on the ball and get with being one tribe and get past all this stupid stuff that we do.
I mean, I totally agree with you. The great thing I think about being in a band and writing music is, I'd say the great thing about being in a band, I'd imagine being music, is music has a way of bringing people together,
Yeah, that's the idea,
Yeah.
Music's supposed to do that, so.
Yeah. And so I got to ask, like, do you guys got plans for any more videos, or I know that's kind of a current single you got going.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we're going to be dropping some other live footage stuff from the set, because we recorded the set, and I'm sure at some point we'll do another something kind of video of the other ones we did were like Opus X was kind of an indie movie meets a music video. It's supposed to be that kind of thing. On the Horizon was this introduction, and Eyes Closed was us having fun with a very dark subject matter of the song.
Yeah.
So, and Chris and I, we're all kind of like, we're not taking ourselves too seriously. We want to have fun with this, but I'm sure we'll be doing some more video stuff in the future.
And you mentioned playing the Whiskey last year. What was that show like for you? I mean,
that's great. I love playing the Whiskey. It's a great place to play. I played there a bunch, and it's just like we played Reggie's in Chicago last year, which was one of the shows we got to go play during that time, and that was an awesome thing. It's like playing in the iconic venue where the people that influenced you, whoever they might be, whether it's Armored Saint or Testament or whatever, they've played all these places, and you're stepping into hollows ground, and you go and suck up that juice and that energy and go bring it.
Yeah, it's amazing when you think of the legendary artists that have been up on that stage, and I'd imagine there's a band that's up and coming like Attack Rising. That's got to be a pretty awesome feeling. Like, hey, I'm on the same stage as some of my heroes, And and then you mentioned Armored Saint, and it's kind of interesting because Wasp is getting ready to go on a 40th anniversary tour, and they're having Armored Saint open up the show because they went on a tour like 40 years ago. But the fact that those bands are celebrating 40 years together, can you believe it?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. For like a band like Armored Saint, I love them. They're one of my favorite bands, period.
Yeah.
And I know the cats, and they're really cool people, and that they're still playing, doing their thing, which is awesome. Just like you saw the Bay Area Strikes Back tour, a bunch of killer bands that have been around for a long time. They're still doing their thing. I mean, all that kind of stuff is really, really awesome to see in the metal world. You've seen people who've been around for a while still playing, still putting it out, still handling it, bringing the hammer down.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. Well, Tony, I want to thank you for taking time talking to me. I really had a pleasure chatting it up with you, and maybe we can do it again down the line. But the interview we just did, I'm planning to post them the next week or two. I will be sure to let you know once it's up. So let's keep in touch, Tony, and take care.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Anytime. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riff Magazine.